Three, two, one. We are live. Good afternoon, Quasar Markets Live. I am really excited to have this is the first segment we have our trading mindset moment with Agnieszka Wood, the trading mindset coach and her program as a head coach. I'm really excited to have you here. We've been talking the last few days. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Howard, for having me here. It's absolutely exciting to be here for the first time. Hopefully, we will continue this for longer time, so we can really help traders to get their mindset in the right place for the success.
Absolutely. I've been lucky enough to talk to you here over the last week or so and look at some of the things that you do, some of your programs. And we talk about it a lot on Quasar Markets that, having a trader's mindset, understanding certain things, and not, you just said it before we came on, not just buying into the noise, is so important. So I'd like to start with first is how did you sort of get in your career evolve into where it is now and where you do this for traders on a daily basis?
It's thank you for this question because it's really actually interesting if you see how this all develops. Looking back, I almost feel like everything just sort of lined up for me to do this job right now because I started my career as a life coach long time ago. It almost feels like a previous life. And I have studied NLP, which is the neuro linguistic programming, where I got so excited. It was beginning of 2002, so really long time ago. I got so excited about the potential that our mind gives us and what we can do with that. Like, this limitless potential. I remember Tony Robbins was really precursor of that at that time. And I have not even thought about trading at that time. I actually had no idea about trading until I met my husband, which was in 2010. So it was many years after. And he was a trader and, constantly looking at stocks and checking something. And I was just like, what is it that you're doing there? What
Right.
is that on that phone? And I'm a person who is very curious and I like new challenges. I like learning new things. So I just got into it without really a lot of thought about it, what it is, and not even really, it wasn't really about money at the time. I had a successful company that I was running and I had money. So, I was just like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just try it. When I really got serious about trading, after the initial, wins and losses, big losses, I thought, there's more to it than just what I saw on the chart, going up and down. You buy low, you sell high, fantastic, right? So more serious that I got into it and really actually started education was when I moved to the US. And we lived in Miami Beach at that time. So that was this perfect scenario. Like now trading for a living seems like no brainer, right? So I thought, let's just do it properly. So I did trading education. I learned about technical analysis. And I did not really think about any psychology of it at that time. I knew you have to have a training plan to follow it. I did it for 2 weeks, very disciplined, and I had great results in the first 2 weeks. I thought, that's great, I'm done.
It could be easy. Yeah.
Perfect, it's gonna be easy. And then, of course, I got caught up in a short squeeze, no idea what it was. I was trading biotechs, took too much risk, and that's where my struggle started. And that's where I actually got stuck from there, with all the fear and greed, mostly with fear, because once you lose, you're afraid to lose again. Then you try to, you jump in, it's going well, but then you jump out, then you jump back in, then you chase, like all the standard things that was actually the time that I learned about all the standard things like FOMO, over trading,
Yeah.
chasing. It's like, wow, what is this? This is different, right?
Yeah, many people don't realize how many traders that try to go that route and get into day trading actually fail. And it's,
Yeah,
high, it's over 80%. And part
right.
of it is that, like you said, you get that initial win and then you get that big loss, the first big loss, and they have trouble getting over it. We call it paper hands, right? And we see that a
Right.
lot. And like you said, overtrade, everything spooks you, and you almost set yourself up to fail. So that's why when I
Yeah.
found out about what you do through Steve and everything, I was so excited to get you on, because it really is important. I talked, one of our first interviews we did on Quasar Markets was with the CEO of Prosper Trading, and he was a vice president of Goldman Sachs, on the floor of the CBOE for years. And he talked about the difference in the mindset and how for him, it was almost, if you're a good poker player, sometimes it can translate over into the world of trading, and that you got to filter out that noise. Like you said earlier, you nailed it before when we were talking, and that being so important. And I just see it every day with traders that we talk to at Quasar Markets. You can see it in their, you can hear it in their voice, because I don't see their faces as much. A lot of times it's keyboard or, through
Right.
audio, but you can hear it, you can sense it. So, one thing that I really love that you talked about is the difference between teaching and coaching, and how your
Yes,
program is really about coaching. Can you talk a little bit about that stylistically for how a trader is? Because
absolutely.
I think that's important.
Absolutely. So I will kind of connect it to, how I finally went from that failing cycle to coaching, because, a lot of traders who are getting into trading, they're like most traders, because it's such a challenging um, area. We are all very ambitious, and we are very stubborn, and we know that we can be successful because we have done it before. So for me, it was like I would not take no for an answer, and I would be stubborn, right? So I would just start pushing, and I would always think I would be different than the 80%.
Right.
And that
That's what everybody
stubbornness,
says, unfortunately.
exactly, exactly. So that's like the first thing. But and we really don't like to be told what to do. So the worst thing is, and that's the difference between coaching and teaching, is that we know what to do. We just can't do it.
Right.
We just cannot get ourselves to do it. And I knew what to do, and still I was stuck in a fading cycle for 2 years until I finally got behind, look behind, and take my expertise in NLP and my life coaching, and sort of step back and say, wait a minute, what is happening here? Just really looking at the perspective, like looking from a distance at yourself, and figure out, why is it that I am not doing what I know I should be doing? So in my coaching, I don't tell people what to do, because I know that they know what to do. I just help them do it. And that is just so much more effective, because when you can actually remove the obstacle that prevents you from doing something you already know you should be doing, then there is nothing in your way why you wouldn't be doing that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. When we were talking, you brought it in a great way to me. It was, you let us figure out on our own the answer, so to speak. And it
Right.
really hit a chord with me, because I could see how I would have a different view then, and I was someone that was an educator of trading, doing a live trading room every day. And I
Mm-hmm.
can see that. And what I saw is we had what we called mentors sessions, where it was in a more one-on-one or three-on-one type of situation instead of 100 people. And what you found is, in those rooms, I could say, hey, Charlie, so the market just did this, or Bitcoin just made this move, and we're looking at this indicator, and they would come up with the answer on their own, and it was a big difference. You could see the light
Right.
sort of go off. So I would have to assume that you get that sort of aha moment a lot, that you get to experience. It was
Totally.
great for me to see it the first time, and that's a
Yeah.
high that you try to chase every day too.
Exactly. And it's actually the most beautiful thing is like, I'm like a mirror. Just like the market is a mirror of your own behavior, and it gives you very direct feedback. The problem is you don't really want to listen, right? We don't want to see that. That's why we start fighting the market. But market is very direct. You made a mistake, boom.
Right.
You immediately know you made a mistake. So if you don't dare to accept it, and there's a lot of different things on the inside that stops you from actually seeing it. So I am more of a like a mirror, right? When you're talking to me, or when my students are talking to me and telling me certain things, I can just sort of direct them and point them and say, hey, look what is it that you right now are doing, or look how what you're saying affects what you are doing in trading. So, and that's just very interesting, because that is something you cannot deny, right? If
Right.
someone tells you what to do, a lot of times like, yeah, but I already tried it, and you
Ex-
start to like sort of defend your thesis that nothing is going to work.
Right. You put a
But
wall up.
that's just belief.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, you know they initially put that wall up, and when you find it on your own, so to speak,
Exactly.
where you're guided and you get that aha moment, you know that wall comes down, and you
Right.
tend to say it, and you know we
Yes.
see it, and it's hard for people to do nothing sometimes.
Oh
And
my
when I
God,
say that is we tell people
that's like
sometimes
the
the right
biggest thing.
trade, yeah, the right trade is no trade. You know,
Right.
not every
Yeah.
day and every stock is in a right position to trade. You
Yeah,
know,
I actually had a very interesting conversation during my one of the last yesterday's coaching sessions, because we have this a lot of people have learned to work hard in order to achieve success, and because you're so used to it, you will be creating situations that will make you work hard,
right.
and then you will not even see it because it's so obvious to you that you have to work hard in order to achieve something. So instead of not doing anything, like that switch to like, okay, the question is really interesting. The question that I often get is, but how do I do nothing?
Right.
Well, you don't. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You just do not do anything. There is no way how do I do nothing. That's the opposite of doing, right? You're
Right.
just being.
Yeah. You know,
So
it's a good point. I mean, I know a lot of traders will sometimes take a walk, step away, take your dog. Steve's big on
exactly.
taking his dog for a walk. I'm
Yes.
similar. I love my puppy Moochie, and we'll go throw the ball because you have to
Awesome.
step away, like you said. Sometimes you do need to physically step away to mentally step away, and I find
Yes.
that
And
break for me helps.
yes. And you really touch a very important point, because that is something that I have never, when I was learning trading, I have never realized that what environment am I actually exposing myself to? And I love to bring up an example of Blue Angels, the squadron, the Navy squadron. So there is a fantastic documentary about Blue Angels on Netflix. If you get a chance,
I'm
watch
gonna
it, because
write
it's
it
such
down.
a great comparison to how it works in trading. They are, first of all, in order to become a pilot in Blue Angels, you have to go through extraordinary training, right? But in order to qualify, yes, they will check your mental and physical health, etc. But what is really interesting is that at the very first test of the G forces, which they have to be able to control and stay conscious, every time when they go the first time, they pass out. It's not like it's a born ability to handle G forces. They are actually learning how to physically control their body and pump the oxygen into their brain while the G forces are working on them. And that's what I see in trading. Traders are not aware what kind of forces are being pushed on them while they're trading. And I'm talking about all the triggers that are coming in, mental triggers, emotional triggers, that are causing you to act certain way because your nervous system and your physiology is producing all kinds of chemicals, dopamine,
Sure.
stress hormone, cortisol, and your defense system, your sympathetic nervous system is reacting, and you get into fight or flight response. So in order, like people say, yeah, I don't want to feel emotions, I want to control my emotions. You have to learn, you have to first become aware what forces are being you are exposing yourself to, and then you have to learn how to handle those forces so that you don't fly unconscious, because that's what
Right.
a lot of traders
And
are
it doesn't,
doing.
like you said, it's not something it's it's within everybody. and it's not
Yeah,
there for everybody. In other words, you have to work on it. I still find that.
right,
I'm
right.
a FOMO person. I say I'm
Yeah,
not, and then I am. And it's
yeah.
funny, and so you have
But
to
if
get
it's
there.
not about not being that person, like I think the expectation is like I will never get triggered. That's unrealistic because yes, our physiology is gonna get triggered. The thing is that you become better and better and better not to react to that trigger, to
That's the key,
pause.
like you said, and also for me it was like on where FOMO would be on these meme coins or on meme stocks and some of those things, the pumpers, is also
Right,
realizing take a step back and where is it and where is FOMO for everybody else, not just me, and realizing
right,
sort of things that I could look at to say, okay, well I might be hitting FOMO, but I think it's still early, or oh man, it's peak FOMO. All I'm going to be is exit liquidity for somebody else. Don't do this.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
I think like that's a great point where you're saying and where you're saying you're not telling people not to trade. You're not telling people to that there are going to be the certain indicators you're looking at, whether it's emotionally, physically, or looking at it, but how you manage it. And I guess I have another question for you. I'm one of those people, and I've cut it down because I saw that too many screens. I was a
mm,
guy that had, I still have 7 or 8 screens, but part of it is because I have to do what we're doing here. So it's a
right.
little better. But when I had one of them on, this six stocks and one on this six cryptos and CNBC with Bloomberg and
Hmm.
Schwab Network and this other network and, 17, I had so much data coming in that I couldn't function. So I had to
Yeah.
declutter myself to be able to move forward. Do you find that a lot in people, or was I just an
Absolutely.
anomaly?
No, absolutely. The less is more. That's like my motto. And not just because it's just my motto, but it's much easier to regulate your system when you don't, like when you decrease the number of triggers. So
Absolutely.
decreasing the time you are in front of triggers when you are trying to trade, you have to imagine what impact it has. So yes, you have to go for a walk to just decompress and get back to neutral. But also if you put 20 screens around you, now you have 20 more, it's times
Inputs.
20, all the
Yeah.
triggers that are coming at you. I have, and I can tell you that it really does not, it actually improves the results because I've had clients who came to me and they were like listening to everything while trading, different chat rooms, different podcasts, like a lot of screens, just but that's FOMO. Like I
Right.
don't want to miss anything. I want to grab every opportunity there is. And if you can handle it, fantastic. But I would say do not start with it. Don't think that you have to have 18 screens to be a day trader because I
Right.
have one of my clients being consistently profitable and really banking it, trading just one stock every day, the same stock every day, one strategy.
Yeah.
And he's trading just a small part of his day.
Right. Oh, so we deal with one of the other contributors here on Quasar Markets is a gentleman, Michael Shore from Prosper Trading Academy, who does short-term options, and he has probably 4 or 5 that he hits, but he's using
Mhm.
the QQQ, the SPY, Tesla, Nvidia. He's got a few because he
Yeah.
learns those. You learn, like you're saying. I found that's for me. I used to call myself a one-trick pony because I was a Bitcoin person. And I could
Yeah.
have a feel, and people would ask me a question, and they'd be amazed. Wow, you knew that daily range right up there, and you knew this. And yeah, if you watch it as your sole input,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier to do. And that's why analysts either why J.P. Morgan doesn't have an analyst cover 30 different stocks, maybe two.
Exactly.
Usually they're just
Exactly.
one because
Yeah.
you have to get that. I have a question for you. Is we talked a lot on the program about right now every economic data point just has the market going wishy-washy, crazy volatility, you know so my question is, with the way that you do your coaching, is there a change that you're making with your clients right now because of that, or that you're already sort of in tune? It doesn't matter what the market's volatility is like, that this sets you up in all types of markets.
Yes. So I have clients that trade all kinds of markets, all kinds of, instruments, all kinds of time frames, um, even different countries. So the coaching is really actually the name of my company. A head coach says it all. It's about becoming the coach of your own head.
I love it.
It's a head coach, but it puts you ahead because you are not you are not a follower, you are becoming a leader. And there is, to become a leader, being in a leader position while you're trading, first of all, you have to be in control and you know where you're going, regardless of where the market is going. So you always have to have your own plan. And when the market volatility, like when the market is more volatile, it is more likely to shake you out. So you always have to adjust, like, okay, so market is like that. What am I gonna do? So
Sure.
you're not, yes, following the trend. That is very important, that you're not fighting the market, but you always have to have your own plan so that you don't start blaming the market, because that's a very slippery slope if you start, playing a victim
Absolutely.
role and
We
putting
always talk about
responsibility
you
on the
have to
market.
have a thesis when you make a trade. And when you make a trade, you're not just buying something, but when I used to teach people, I used to, we'd make a trade, I would say we're buying Bitcoin at 63,500. Our stop loss that we're going to enter immediately is at, 61.5, and here are the reasons why that I
Right.
chose that reason. We're going to take profit at these 2 points, and this is why I've chose them, so that it becomes a little bit more set and forget. So for me, that's what worked
Right.
well, where I wasn't
Mhm.
actively sitting there, okay, what's it doing? I could set my trade and then take a deep breath and watch it play out. And don't get me wrong, if the thesis changes, if a news point came in or a data point that changed what my thesis was, we would change the trade. But if it
Yes.
didn't, sticking to that plan, I found for me was very, very, successful.
Yeah, so it's very good point, because it's a balance between sticking to your plan and then being agile on the other hand, to be able to say, okay, the market has changed. I need to adjust my plan, so that you are not like being stubborn. No, the market is changing, but I'm going to stay in the past, right? Everyone moved on, but I'm going to be here. And I like to use the comparison to, like, soccer players.
Sure.
Sometimes they like get a kick or something and they fall down, right? And then they play out this whole thing. Oh, I cannot move, I cannot get up. And sometimes they would stay there still crying while the whole game already moved on. Everyone is already
Yep.
running somewhere else and playing, and then they're like, oh, okay, I better get up. So don't be the trader. When the market moves, just move with it. Don't get too, don't take it too personal. Oh, I made a plan, I worked on it the whole evening, and now the market opens and everything is gapping up. And now what?
Right.
It's
And
like,
that's what it
well,
is. It's just as important to not have that, fear, like you said, of FOMO, but also to realize things do change.
oh my God, all the
There's so
time.
much information now available to us at 24 hours a day that things just change. And I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
times that would be something where we would get ready to start my room. And I only look at stuff, even here at Quasar Markets this morning. I start about 6 a.m. and I start looking through what's going on pre market and what happened in China. And okay, I think we're
Right.
going to talk about this. Well, 8:30, 8:45 comes around and I go to brief Steve about what I think we're going to talk about. And maybe five of them have already played out and now they're not really relevant, or they're,
Right.
something else happens. So like you said, you got to play the hand in front of you. You're not the
Right.
best, laid plans of mice and men, right, go astray. You have to keep that in mind. I do think that is so important. I was looking at over your stuff over the last couple of weeks, and I do want to point
Cool.
out to everybody I have put a QR code in just to the left and below Agnieszka's picture there that has the trading mindset tips. And I will tell you, she has 3 amazing guides. I've already downloaded all of them. And not to spoil our Monday session, but we're going to spend a lot of time talking about these 10 ways to improve consistency. And as another guide I haven't even talked to you about yet, but Steve has the Big Beach Rule of Trading. And you guys have some very similar
Oh,
things that
really?
I'm hoping he's going to be back Monday from his UN trip here to New York, and we can have all three of us jump on, because you guys have some very similar things. Don't worry, I'll share you his with you beforehand so you know what it
That's
is.
okay. That's
But
okay.
I
That's
would love to
fine. That's
go through
great.
that. But I would tell you, I looked at all three of these so far, and you have amazing information. And again, what I would say to our listeners and our followers here is I spend a lot of time with traders, in the company of traders, in different Slack rooms and Discords and things with them. There aren't many people looking at this right now. And I think it's the most important, one of the most important parts. You know, your mental health is going to deal with how you trade. And, you know, I just see too many traders that get stuck in that rut. And that's why we're so excited to have you here every Monday and Wednesday.
Thank you.
You know, we've kept you almost for a half hour here already.
I
But,
know.
you know, I
Time flies
really,
when you're having fun.
yeah, and I really do think it is so important for traders to learn about this. So I do really stress that people please look at her website. All the stuff's on the QR code. There is some great information here. And again, it's not going to cost you $1 million. She has some free guides that will help get you started, that will help you on this path to, you know, getting into your own head the right way and getting set for your trading day. Any last words you have for us today before we take off here?
Well, I think it's really important for you guys to to start somewhere. Even if you have tried everything, you might feel like, yeah, I have tried everything, nothing works for me. I come across that a lot of times, and I totally understand it. But just give yourself a chance and try to do something different, because it doesn't matter to be doing a lot. It really matters when you do the right things, and then you don't have to do a lot. So if you want to start somewhere, the trading mindset tips, where you see the QR code, you can also find it on my website. It's actually a mini course, and until the end of September, it's completely free. And it's a series of 14 emails that you will be getting every day with strategies and very actionable tips that will help you to go through three steps to get you out of that failing cycle to on the path to consistent profit. So do yourself a favor, give yourself a fair chance.
Absolutely. I stress it. I'm going to do it today. I have been so excited to work with you on this, you know, process.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
it's, like I said, it's just going to change the way that you approach your day, and make you happier. You know, again, I see so many people that get into this day trading and investing, and they're not happy in it. You know,
Right.
so
Right.
I think getting, you know, your mental well-being in the right place and doing that is so important if you're going to stay in this business. And that's what we want to do here at Quasar Markets. We want you guys to be able to learn how to do this and not burn out, and be part of that 80%. Be part of the 20% that get independent, financial independence, and can control theirs. So thank you so much, Agnieszka,
Thank you
for
for
coming
having me.
today. And
Thank you for having me, Howard,
we
and
will see you
for
next
doing everything
Monday.
you're doing. All
Oh,
right,
thank
that's
you
awesome.
so much.
See you Monday.
See you on Monday.
Bye.
Oh, hi. Okay, Quasar Markets, we are going to take a quick look here at our midday look at the markets and see what's going on. I, again, want to thank Agnieszka so much for coming in today to do that. I think it's so important and really a great thing that can help us. Okay, let's take a look at the markets here, see what we have going on. Tick still a little negative here, about 297 to the south side. We can see here the last 2 hours tick has turned red. VIX is still moving down 15, 17, so in that spot where it's not a bad place. Again, like we tell you, you don't want to be trying to buy volatility protection too late. You want to get in on that earlier instead of late. So you want to make sure that you are getting in there, and this might be the time that you want to try to get in there and get your protection. SPY down about 0.12 here. NASDAQ is up about 0.18, but again, we can see last 3 hours we've really been more losing steam than gaining steam. Bitcoin is holding above 63.5, so I'm very happy to see that here so far. I do think that that's a good start for us here. A couple of things we got to look at. What are the movers of the day? Hewlett Packard, we talked about that this morning. On analyst upgrades, we've seen Hewlett Packard now up almost 5%, one of the S&P's leaders here in our day. Also want to take a look at VST. Another gainer on the day. Vistra Corp. This is actually a play on nuclear that a lot of people might not know about. So let's talk a little bit more about this. So this is Vistra. We can see here it hit an all-time or 52-week high at least here earlier today. It has been just absolutely moving up, you know, from 73 to 119 here over the month of September. And what it is Vistra is a play on nuclear energy. They provide a lot of the infrastructure, some of the things that you need to build a nuclear, a nuclear plant. So one of those ones to keep on your roadmap there if you are looking for something in that sector. So this is a play off of CEG, Constellation Energy's move with Microsoft to restart 3 Mile Island and start to use nuclear energy. So we're seeing a play there on that. That's another one of the S&P movers here that we have seen. On the side, Nvidia had made a nice move up today, up about 2.4%. So it was good to see that here. And part of that, we saw that the consultancy firm Bain estimated in a Wednesday report that the total addressable market for AI-related hardware will grow between 40 to 55% annually, at least for the next 3 years, which would be reaching about 780 billion to 990 billion. So while not all that spending will go on NVIDIA's hardware, plenty of it likely is. Bain projects demand for graphic processing units to climb to the equivalent of 3 million of NVIDIA's next generation GB200 chips in 2006 from 1.5 million of its current units in 2023. NVIDIA is also enhancing its software stack and offering hosted services, providing tailored solutions that leverage its hardware and create more efficient ecosystem for developers and users, wrote Bain's Capital's David Crawford. So NVIDIA getting a nice move up after that. An underperformer, GPN, Global Payment Network, one that seems to be on the downspin here today. And you can see down about 5.25%. And part of that, again, we've seen some analyst reports come out. Morgan Stanley cut their price target to 156. Right now, it is trading at 98. So, it's still got room there, but we saw a couple of underperformance analyst reports come out that are moving that in the negative direction. Check in on the pumper we were watching this morning, TNON. Nah, not really much happening there. It made the one move up, but now back there. Trying to see if any of the other pumpers are moving. Not really from what I can see. AMD, so again, chips looking pretty good today. AMD up about 2%. AutoZone, so AutoZone is moving up here. It had seen an initial fall after earnings reports, but AutoZone now up 1.77. So, which is interesting because I'm seeing a downgrade from Morgan Stanley and headwinds also from Evercore. So a little bit of a downgrade, but still seeing the stock move up. Constellation Energy continuing to see strong move up here today. MSTR we were watching this morning, still up about 1%. Has pulled back a little bit as Bitcoin's price has pulled back Okay, that is going to do it here for me on the midday report and our trading mindset. I really hope you enjoyed that session. That I think that Agnieszka gives us some amazing information and will really help us traders, get our trading minds in order. For Quasar Markets Live, this is your host, Howard Greenberg. And remember, at 1 o'clock, we have Scott Bauer from Prosper Trading Academy coming on to do his market minds. And that is live from the floor of the CBOE. And I will be back at 2 o'clock to do a look at Bitcoin and the Crypto Corner. See you all then.